Okay. Okay. Von Hilzer neem eingeschwecke wetten Benkel. Auf Kiewe, dem Leckermachers Danek, oder 8-jähriger Moischke, neugierig geschlungen alle Szenes herum Herrscheles Häus und dem ganzen Tummel bei sein gewesenem Reben. So from this, the bench that is a wooden bench with nails that was there on the porch of Kiva, the cake baker. Moishke, the 8-year-old Moishke, was absorbing curiously all the scenes around Herschel's house and the whole mayhem that was there around his former Rebbe. Man kann nicht sagen, als hat sich stark abgegessen durchs Herz. You cannot say that he suffered very much from that he ate up his heart, that he didn't suffer because of the sins. Verkehrt, the opposite. Sie ist für ihn gewesen der schönste Theater. For him it was the most beautiful theater, all that was going on there. Befragt, als oder sein strengen Reben mit die Lockchen in der zitterdicken Hand in sein tiefster Gefallenheit, particularly that he now saw his strong Rebbe with his kanchek in his shaking hand. He saw him in his deepest failure, in his deepest downtime now. Und auch derselbe Riedel hat gehad die Asa herauszutreiben ihm von Cheder. And this same Yid, this same Jew, had the courage of the chutzpah to throw him out of the Cheder. Now that he looks so miserable, so he looks like a failure. Das Wort Raptum, was Reb Herschel hat geschrien und darüber geschrien, dem ganzen Tummel, ist Moshe kein gar stark gefallen geworden. This word Raptum, which means all of a sudden or all at once, that Herschel was screaming and repeated screaming all throughout this whole scene, this whole mess. Moshe very much liked this word. Hat gleich genommen springen auf den Bänkel. Punkt also wie Herschel der Melamed Elien dem Scheuchet in die Augen. Right away he started jumping on the bench, exactly like Reb Herschel, his Rebbe, did to Elia the slaughterer, right into his eyes, right the way Herschel was dancing in front of Elia the slaughterer. Now Moshe was dancing dancing the same way in front of Herschel. Hat das viel gemacht besser wie Reb Herschel. Not only did he imitate him, but he even did it better than Reb Herschel. Die verborgene Sinne, was hat getrogen auf Herschels Talmidim lach, hat ausgegossen, hat sind in Kotzevate ausgeschrien. Ihr hat doch gesagt, Raptum, hat ihr gesagt. Ei, Raptum, gemacht mir ein schönem Raptum. now he's giving them back this hate that was the hate that he was carrying against Herschel and his students. Now he took it all out by shouting like a Scots is a goy, in terrible screaming like a goy. But you say, and now he is imitating Reb Herschel. The way Reb Herschel is screaming at Elia the Slaughterer. Hat doch gesagt Raptum, hat gesagt, ei, Raptum, gemacht mir a schönem Raptum. You made me a nice Raptum. You sent me a nice all at once. Yes, you made my son-in-law crazy with your Raptum, Rebalia. That's what Herschel said. And now Moshe imitates him and is having a lot of fun doing that. Aber der größere Tumult hat Sinn verschlungen sein kindersche Nekome in Hirschlen. Sein kunzigen Nochmachen dem gewesenen Reben in sein Unglück. The big noise that was around quieted it like made his childish revenge that he was taking at Herschel kind of disappear. And so his the way he was imitating his former Rebbe, who was screaming out of his misery, all that Moshe did wasn't noticed because of all this, all the tumult that was around. Therefore, zu morgens, wenn Moshe hat sein gewesene Rebetzen Zippen, herauslaufen dich von Stub, a verwähnte, a versorgte und ohne Tichel auf dem Kopf, hat gemeint, als sind ist die richtige Zeit, überzukrimmen die nächtige Szene. Now, he wasn't noticed at night, so now, in the morning, when he saw his former Rebbetzin, the wife of the Rebbe, when he saw her running out of the house as she was crying and with a kerchief on her head.
Without a kerchief on her head.
Without.
Un.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. No, yeah, of course. Without tichel auf dem Kopf. He saw that now was the right time to imitate, to repeat last night's scene that he was trying to perform. Getracht und getan. Now he thought about it and he did it. Hat sich zertänzelt auf seine flinke Fisslach und genommen Quietschen mit Reb Herscheles Häserigen Kohl. So he started to dance around, getänzelt, on his quick little feet, and he started squeaking or screaming with Reb Herschel's hoarse voice. Raptum hat doch gesagt. Raptum. Wo ist etwas Raptum? Again. all at once. All at once. He's imitating what the Rebbe was saying. Zippe, der Rebbe zu Not, auf ihm angestellt ihre wilde Augen. Zippe, the wife of the Rebbe, stared at him with wild eyes. Die erste Rege hat sie nicht verstanden, was Kives Hodulnik will da von ihr. The first moment she didn't understand what Kive's son wanted from her. When dancing, saying, Raptum, no bald hat sie ausgeschirrt, die Zehn verkast. Now she understood, and she, what do you say this when you do it with the teeth? Give me the English word.
She was grinding her teeth.
Grinding, yeah, thank you, yeah. Thank you, yeah. She was grinding her teeth out of anger. She grabbed Moshe by the hand, and she started genommen Treslenim und schreien mit benomene Keules, and she started to shake him and to yell with possessed voices, possessed voice, screaming, Herschel, komm mal raus, Herschel. Der Mamzer, that's where it is. Come, she calls her husband. Come, the Mamzer is here, right? The illegitimate child. Ihr zu Hilfe ist rausgelaufen, der gewesene Rebbe mit die Lokschen und genommen schmeißen wie an eigenem Talmid. Now, to help her, came out the former Rebbe, the former teacher with his whip, and he started lashing Moshe as if he was his own student. Nadir Raptum, Otos to of here, have it, Raptum. This is what you're getting for saying this word. This was what you're getting, Moshe. And Moshe is getting beaten up. Okay. Auf Moshe Yeloles seinen herausgelaufen Schere und Kivet zu Rate wenn sehr Dulnik. Now, in response to Moshe's screaming and crying, Schere and Kive ran out to save their son. Und eine schöne Kriegerei. Amol in a Novene, ausgebrochen inmitten Zavulek zwischen die verbissene Schenim. Now, not an argument that is not so nice, and that occurs once in a blue moon, broke out in the middle of this neighborhood, amongst or between really the stubborn neighbors.
What does Novena mean? Just a blue moon?
Yeah.
Once
A
in
rare
a
event?
long while.
In a long while.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. Kive und Schere haben geschrien. Eier Meshugen im Edem schluckt besser. Kive and Schere were yelling, better you hit your crazy son-in-law. Und Zipe und Herr Herschel entfernen. Eier Mamser nimmt weg. Ihr Herr, Eier Mamser. And Zipe and Reb Herschel are answering. It's your mother, it's your illegitimate son that you should take away. Are you hearing? Your illegitimate son. Moischke hat derweil was gehabt die Fisslach auf die Plätze entlaufen vom Tummel und behalten sich in einer Winkele bei Kive dem Leckermacher in Stuhl. Moischkele, meanwhile, in the meanwhile, he grabbed his entire body, like the feet on the.
He just ran.
He just ran, yeah,
quickly.
yeah. He ran away from the tumult, and he hid himself in a corner by the
In his
house of by the house of Kiva the cake maker.
Well, it's his
And
house.
there is the pain. Als Sachmer, wie war die Lokschen, hat sich erschrocken von einem miesen Wort. A lot more than by the
Conscience.
whip. By the whip. He got frightened by this ugly word. Der Rebbe allein hat das ihm noch geschrien. The Rebbe himself yelled this word after him, behind him. Aid mit abod, a Jew with a beard. Vey. At seen in Ekveld, now at the end of the world, I guess in this part of the neighborhood. Sistake an emes, it must be true. Und sie ist a Sach miser, wie meshugener Edim, and it's a lot uglier than the crazy son-in-law. This word, mamzer, is a lot uglier than raptum. A lot means a sach. A sach means a lot uglier than raptum. This word is the real pain, and not necessarily the pain that he got by getting beaten up. That drives me crazy. They went and they beat up Moshe because they think they can beat him because he's a mamzer. Okay.
You have to move it, Masha.
I see myself only now. Oh yeah, I see you. Yeah. Okay.
You're
Yeah. Okay.
verstummt, Masha, you're verstummt.
Did you finish the paragraph, Rachel?
Yeah.
It looked like you had a few more words. That's why I was waiting.
No,
Okay.
no. I finished.
Okay.
And I added to it too.
Okay, I'll go back and the next person can start reading.
Okay. Yeah, Moid. Arov.
You have to wait for it to move.
But I think that's the way he writes, Schneer, that he takes you to the point where you're in tears, where you can't bear it anymore.
Yeah.
And then he roics you. He says, okay, I know you're at that point. Now I'll be nice. Now I'll show you something nice.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm going to show you a little music. a little song, a little something.
Yes,
Yeah.
but even when you have a performer that sings Trayadika Lida, very sad songs, then he sings a happy song. Because
Right.
otherwise he's gonna lose his audience. You
Right.
can take just so much horrible news.
Right.
Can't absorb too much. Otherwise, you just put the book down.
You could
Can't
start
bear it.
if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, we will. Just a comment in between, because it's
Yeah.
a very
Emotional.
clear break.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah. And now, instead of everybody being horrible to Moisheke, now there's someone who's nice to him. So it's a huge contrast between
Right.
the previous chapter and this current chapter.
He comforts the reader. He comforts the reader.
Yeah, I need it.
We all do. You're not alone.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. Der singende Stollier, the singing carpenter. Noch ein Psak.
One moment. I'm saying Nochen. Oh, I
Oh,
see.
he-
You
oh,
yeah,
said,
just
that
like a
headline.
paragraph.
oh, okay. You read the top part. I'm sorry. Can you start from there again? I'll be still.
Okay. So, noch ein Psak, was Moischele hat gehabt, verspringen der gewesener Rebbetzin in die Augen, hat sich das Siedelwort Mamser noch tiefer eingegessen in ihm, wie Javer rein in seine jungige Beiner. So after the sentence, which Moisheke received for jumping in front of the former Rebbetzin, in front of her eyes, this swear word mamzer even more deeply bit into him like rust into his young bones. In Zavulik is noch vereinsamer und ellender geworden. So in the Zavulik, in this area of where they lived, he became even more alienated and
Lonely.
and lonely. Die Enkelech von Herscheles Cheder haben sich noch mehr erweitert von ihm. So the little boys in Herscheles Cheder kept even further away from him. Warum Herschel, der Melamed, hat sehr angesagt, man soll es heißt mit dem Boyan und bis Batschketen mehr nicht spielen. So the reason why the Cheder Yinglich kept away from him was because Herschel the Melamed told them that they should keep away from the and he didn't say the word, from this hoodlum and not play with this shameless individual. Nicht gucken nach viele in sein Zeit, and they shouldn't even look in his direction. Hat man gefolgt, and they listened to what he said. what Herschel said. Und Moisheke hat sich noch mehr vergraben in sich allein. And Moisheke even went even deeper into himself, removed himself from the situation. Zugehört sich stumm zu dem, was in Zavuluk kommt vor. Genichtert in winkelig, gerät zum Stein und zu Bein, wie zu Chaveremlich. So Moisheke dug himself even more deeply into himself, and he listened silently to everything that was said in the Zavuluk, that everything that happened in the Zavuluk, and he searched in the corners, and he spoke to the stone, to the inanimate objects, as if they were friends. Zeit hat gehad genug. So he had enough time to do this. Kein neuem Rebbe für ihm hat Kiva nicht gefunden. Kiva didn't find a new Rebbe to teach him. A Teretz, inmitten Zman, nimmt man kein Talmidim nicht on. So the excuse was that in the middle of the term, teachers didn't take new students on. Und das Stickel Ivre oder Chumash, was Kiva fleckt mit ihm reingehabt zwischen ein Leckertag und dem zweiten, hat abgenommen sehr wenig Zeit. Beim heimischen Rebben, also wie beim heimischen Talmud. So the little bit of Ivra, of study, or Chumash, which Kiva would learn with him between one baking of the cake dough and the second, took up very little time from the Rebbe, the teacher, the home schooler, in the same way as it took very little time with the homeschooled, the Talmud who was taught at home. Die ganze Schuld hat aber Kiva aufgerufen auf Moisheken. But the whole blame was placed on Moisheke by Kiva. Hat teuren Kopf, nor will nicht lernen. He's got a very good head, this child, but he doesn't want to learn. Was heißt will nicht? Stellt sich Stere ein für ihr Hodulnik. Und als du verhörst ihm, weißt doch. So, what do you mean he doesn't want to learn? Stere said about her
Son.
this Hodulnik, her foundling.
Foundling.
If
She
you
thinks it's her
question,
son.
if you question him, doesn't he know how to answer? Weiß und gedenkt gut. He knows and he remembers things well. Was emes is emes, whatever. This is true. Einmal verteidigt ihm und genug. You only need to teach him once and enough, he knows what you teach him. Nu, aber sei is doch gut. So if this is the case, everything's fine. Bei dir ist schon gut und bei mir nicht. Chazeren will das nicht. So if, as far as you're concerned, it's good, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not good. He doesn't want to do any revision. Wie bald gedenkt, heint zu lieb was chazeren. So if he remembers everything, what does he need to do revision for? Me wollt dir gefolgt, wollten alle jüdische Kinder herumgetrieben chazerim. If we were to follow what you say, all Jewish children would be herding chazerim, pigs. Kiva übertreibt nicht. Kiva wasn't exaggerating. Moshe nudget sich sehr stark überzuchazern, das, was gedenkt. Moshe was bored, very bored, to review, to go over all the things that he remembered. Das, was Kiva heißt ihm, sitzen und chazern einer allein, ist als eins, wie Essen on Kampagne. So to sit and to review, to go over alone what to go over alone is exactly the same as having a meal, as eating without company, to eating on one's own. Opgegapt und fertig. So he stopped, and that was the end of it. Der Pfarr hat Moshe ausgenutzt sein Ledigsein und sein kindische Nudotte auf eine zweite Sache. So for that reason, Moshe exploited his idleness, right, and his childish tedium on a second matter. Anstatt zu blättern und wieder einmal blättern a teuten Sefer mit schwarzer Oisies, hat neugierig geblättert dem lebendigen Buch herum sich, dem ganzen Savulik und seine Schreinen. So instead of paging through and paging through again some dead book with black letters, he curiously paged through the living book around him. And that was the whole Zavulik and its neighbors. Via hintel onabalabos hat sich kodem kol vernadjet zu Reb Simcha dem Stolier. So like a puppy without an owner, he firstly wormed his way into Reb Simcha, the carpenter's house. Mit sein kindisch Herz hat Moshe der spürt, als Simcha is a guter Mensch. With his childish heart, in his childish heart, he detected that Simcha was a good person. hat sich zu ihm gezogen, so he was drawn to him, wie ein Vertriebener und der Freurene zu a Kol sich herüber. He was drawn to him like someone who has been driven away and is freezing. That's how that sort of person is drawn to a communal furnace.
Thank you. Thank you. Nechama.
It's better now. It's better now, yeah? Gewohnt hat Simcha Stoliel in der dritte Highschool, noch Kiva's Stub, bald noch Hirschel de Melamed. So Simcha, the carpenter, lived in the third house after Kiva's house, right after Hirschel the Melamed's house. Ein krumme Schindeldach hat geschützt von Schnee und Regen, dem Melamed und dem Stoliel. Nur der Eingang ist gewesen ein anderer. So one crooked roof protected these houses, these two houses from snow and rain. That is the house of the Melamed and the house of the carpenter. But the entrance was a different one. A Nemenish hat Simcha gehat der Magid. Simcha, the stolier, had a nickname, the Magid, the storyteller. Nor kein Magid is Simcha kein mol nish gewein, but he never was a storyteller. Nit nit der Tate seine. He wasn't a storyteller, and his father wasn't a storyteller. A Stoliel ben Stolier, he was a carpenter, the son of carpenters. I guess that was the way it went there. Und Magid hat men ihm Nomen gegeben, weil bei der Arbeit hat lieb gehabt zu draschenen. They gave him this nickname, the Magid, the storyteller, because while he was doing his work, he loved to tell stories and to give drushes, to give explanations.
May I say something?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Magid is a person that was like somebody who was more than a storyteller. He was like a preacher. He would go from place to place and talk religion and talk about God and preach and also tell stories as well. Actually, a preach as he was making stories. He was using storytelling for his preaching, but the main goal of the Magid is that of a preacher. And that's why darshan and it's saying a droshe is like giving a religious lecture.
So his purpose was a religious one.
Yes.
In that sense.
This is not Simcha, the story. Yeah, he was saying also, but they gave him this name, whether he really acted like a real Magid, I don't know, but that's what they called him. Yeah, he was gehat zu darshan and Magidus sagen. He was doing it like a real Magid.
Yeah, as he worked.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry.
No, please, that's the point. Unit zoi post und poshit, nor mit a nigun und mit a hit palus.
His palace.
Okay, and not just simply, but with a little song and with emotion, with feeling. De Hand Heubleven und der Nigun gießt sich über den Hobleketz. The hands they're shaving the wood. They're shaving wood, he's working. And the song spills out over the wood shavings. A roif and a rope, geht der Nigun, and filled on das Orma Stibele. Up and down goes the song and fills the poor little house. Seine Stubeker und seine Gehilfin hat schon lang der Essen. Now the Stubeker it's his housemate.
Yeah,
And
the
his-
household, his household.
The household and his helpers, he long ago, they didn't interest him. Maybe even it didn't interest him. Der Pfarr fleckt sich Simcha, de Stolie, mechaya sein mit jeden neuen Menschen. Because he didn't take any pleasure from his household or his helper with the cataract, he really got a lot of pleasure out of new people. Meg eskevein sein a Yid was kommt betten an a Dova. It could be, for example, a Jew who came to ask for a bit of charity. Der Wasserträger was versteht Yiddish, the water carrier who understood Yiddish. I guess he was a non-Jew, that's why it was unusual.
Yeah.
A Yidna was kommen verrichten a Benkel, a Jewish woman who came to have a benkel, a stool,
Bench.
a bench. My father would call it a benkel. Okay. Odil der 8-jährige Moischele, Kivas Holdunik. Or it could be the 8-year-old Moishika, Kiva's foundling, his son. A schwachen, aber harzigen Kolche hat Rab Simcha gehabt, wie bei a Chazendel noch a großen Teines. He had a weak, but a very emotion-filled voice, like a Chazen after a big fast. Mit Treue ist der Kol gewesen, ungesagt und mit Dreist zu der ganzen Welt. His voice was filled with consolation for the whole world. I mean,
Sadness. Troyer
sadness,
is
Dreist.
Troyer is sadness.
Sadness, but und mit Dreist zu
Yeah.
der ganzen
Today,
Welt.
yeah. Yeah.
Today's
Consolation for the, yeah. Und Arbeit hat sich Simcha Stolia nicht gesungen und an Gesang hat sich nicht gearbeitet. So without the song, he didn't work, and without the work, he didn't sing. They went together. Suggeriert sich zum Hovel oder zu der Zeg. The hovel, when he came close to the plane, the plane that's used to plane the, or to the Zeg, to the saw, hat sich das in ihm zesungen wie ein onderdreiter Spielkasten. What an image. As soon as he got close to the plane or to the saw, he began to sing like a wound up jukebox, a Spielkasten.
Yeah, probably.
A Spielkasten. It was like he was turned on.
Yeah.
Gekrogen hat der Asa Gewohnheit mit Joren zurück, wenn seine zwei Jüngelach, zwei Kadishim, seinen gegangen von der Welt beschass am Gefa von Diphtheria. This habit, this Gewohnheit, he got from years before when his two Kaddishals, the two boys who were going to say Kaddish for him, went from the world at the time of a Magefa, how would you say
An
that?
epidemic.
An epidemic
Epidemic.
of diphtheria. We're going on the downside now. Geblieben is im afilu an ältere Tochter. He was left with an older daughter, welche hat schon lang Chasene gemacht. He was remained with an older daughter who was married a long time ago. Nur kein große Treist is ausgeben sein Tochter, hat Simcha Stolle nicht gehabt. But he didn't have a lot of consolation. See, there's that word Treist again.
I would say
From
that that's
hi-
warmth
Yeah,
more than
from his-
consolation in this instant.
yeah, from his daughter. He didn't have a lot of a Kleinigkeit. Gain von der Welt ohne Kaddish. This is no small thing to go from this world without a Kaddish. Davon hat sich genommen sein ganze Treue. From this time, to go from the world without somebody to say Kaddish, out of this came all of his sadness. Via Tifel Qual hat das geschlagen in ihm, bis es hat sich herausgeschlagen in a Megidischen Nigen. It was a deep source, a deep qual. A source, is that
Yeah.
in him, until it came out in this preacher, in this storytelling song. Einmal and zweimal and dreimal, bis es ist bei ihm geworden, a min zweiter Teva, zu singen und raschenen, zu sein gezeig bei der Arbeit. So he did it one time, he did it 2 times, he did it 3 times, until it became a second nature to him to sing and to give drushes in the time when he was working.
Thank you, Nechama. About the word magid, you know the Hebrew word lehagid.
Yeah, to tell the story.
The hagid is to say. So the magid is a sayer, a speaker, a preacher.
But not a rabbi necessarily.
No, not a rabbi. No. He just go. It was a
Went
big
from town to town.
Yeah, a Magid came to town, and also they would go to Chasanes, to Simchas. A Magid came. It's a little bit like a Batchan, also like a some entertainer as well, but it's basically for religious purposes.
For preaching.
Preaching,
a beautiful
yeah.
nature, he turned this sadness into something that was beautiful.
Yeah, we don't see Magidim now. You know, it doesn't exist, but it was then very, very common.
Well, that's because we have all of these other forms of entertainment. So we
have
that.
Internet, yes.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Okay.
Zoom.
We have Zoom. Yeah. Okay. Goldele.
Meishike Kivas hat in dem Stolje via Hintel, der schmeckt Punkt das endlich Ellenkeit, sie in sich allein. Meishike found in this carpenter, just like a little dog, he smelled the loneliness that he had that was similar to his own. No, a sach größer und schwerer, but bigger and heavier than his own loneliness. Punkt wie Maschike redt zu Stein und Bein, beschass spielt sich in dunkle Winkele, just like Maschike when he speaks to inanimate objects, when he plays in the dark corner. Punkt redt Simcha zu seine uh, Kalim,
Kalim.
Kalim,
Kalim,
Kalim, Kalim. Kalim is instruments, tools, tools.
und zu sein Publi, echt. Exactly the way Simcha speaks to his instruments, and what is Hubliach?
The shavings,
Oh,
you
and
know,
the
he's
shaving
Mhm.
of the wood shavings.
The wood
No,
shavings,
Asach
exactly.
starker und schöner, but stronger and more beautiful. Mit Jedne Eugen hat Moshe betracht dem Qual von Einsamkeit with Jedne.
I think it's deep,
Okay.
Greedy,
greedy.
really.
Avid.
Okay. I thought it was clever, but I agree. Eigen, eyes. Moshe thought that the loneliness that he saw in the Stolje, was macht reden dem verträgenden Stolje zu sich allein. He saw this quality even in his speech, and somehow he thought that they were alike. Sein amol schwarze Bärdel is its vergröit und schitte horig se feche auf sein eingefallener Brust. His beard that was once black dried, became gray and was not as thick as it was before, and it fell on his chest that was sunken. Sie hat a Plichele auf mitten dem Gombe und ist beschotten mit Schlingelech, Hubliech und besprenkelt mit pitzelig Holz. I don't know why he refers that as Z. Sie hat a Plichele.
I think
A
the plichula is
a spot.
no, but I think he's writing about the beard. The beard.
Yes, the plichula is a spot on the beard that is getting bald, sort of, without hair.
Right. And it's falling on his gumba.
Yes, and it's with the gumba with his
Chin.
with his chin.
Chin.
I'm touching my chin while I'm talking.
We get it. We get it.
And his hair is almost like the shavings of the wood, and sprinkled with little pieces of wood that he shaved. It fell on his beard. Der greie Kap hat euch a plichel und über ihn, and his head also has a bald spot. A leichte Jammelkelle, a durchgeschwitzte, and a light Yarmulke that was full of sweat. A verschalte Biskel, a Patelinitze. Could you translate that? more part, Yankiv?
Ja, verscharrte Biskel Paltlinitzer. It was a sort of his yarmulke was sort of almost cheekily falling down to the nape of his neck.
Oh, okay.
So it was like down his back a little bit, you know, it didn't
Yeah.
sit over here. It sat
Yeah.
here.
It was
Oh, I see.
the back of his head.
Yeah.
Die Schleifen eingefallen und der langliche Panem ist gelblich grau. The Schleifen, that the
Excuse
name-
me.
Temples, the
okay,
temples.
the temple
Coming.
fell in, and his long face was a yellowish gray
Mhm.
von schwere Kratze und von Aribe getragene Saches,
Mhm.
from hard work and from troubles that he carried around with him. Ibe getragene. Aber in der dusige Ashekel but in all of these things that he found wrong, he had a beautiful nose. Und von beide Seiten nose leuchten a paar helle green bläuliche Augen, and between that he has two beautiful bright green-blue eyes. Die de große Tierkissen bei der Mumme Stelse in der alte Shabbosdike Brosche, like the big
I think it's turquoise.
the turquoise that
She has a turquoise. Isn't that an image? Isn't that something?
yes,
His
it
eyes.
is. That in der alte Shabbosdike Brosche, in the old Sabbath
Brooch.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Brooch.
Oh, brooch. Okay.
You might say brooch. I don't know. Do we say brooch or brooch? I don't know. The South Africans, I never trust their. Anyway, pin.
Yes, but it's a brooch is a pin.
Yeah.
Soll leuchten sei und passen sich nicht zum ausgemutschten Panem. And they're so bright that they almost don't fit in his face that it's so ausgemutscht. But that üppige bliebene Schwarzkeit in Bord und Payas, nicht zu der, not to the remaining blackness in his beard and his payas. Zu billig is the Ras. Zu teuer seien die edle Steine.
Frame.
That's gorgeous.
Yes,
Too cheap is the
Too
frame,
cheap.
isn't it?
yes,
Yes.
and too dear are the stones.
Mhm.
A strahlendicke Verklärtheit leucht heraus von die dosige fremdliche Augen. A sort of shine that's thoughtful, lights out of his face, out of his eyes, that fremdliche, that are his strange eyes. They gucken halb zu dem, they look half to this, them and they sehen, und halb seien sie verglost zum Himmel. They look half as to what he's seeing and half that shines to the sky. Simcha
no. No, it's like, excuse me, first of all, just one thing. You see, he uses the word leuchten, leuchten, leuchten. We've had that word 3 times in this one paragraph. The idea of this light coming out of his face. It's really something. And he's looking
Yes.
higher. He's looking
Yes.
something higher.
But you
Hecher.
see, Maishike is so downtrodden and so alone in his loneliness that in this carpenter, he sees the light, the brightness, the warmth, the face of somebody that he feels warmth towards. It's not like the other faces that he sees around him, that he sees that they don't like him. But this man has warmth and light, and he's eager. He enjoys different people that come in. And so when he sees Maishika, he gives him the same warmth that he would give to somebody else. I think it's a beautiful thing. Es ist ein Zeit. Ich will nicht
Yeah.
als
It's amazing to me how he goes into detail about everything. The Zavulek, the houses, the snow, and the roofs, and the this, and here to the person, the beard, and what's on the
Yes.
beard, and under how
Yes.
how did he know to do all this?
okay.